Hello there, and welcome to today's lesson. Today, we are going to look at an introduction to report writing or introduction to formal report writing. So, at the end of this lesson, you will clearly know one, what a report is, two, who writes a report, three, who are the recipients of a report, and four, features of a formal report. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and let's begin our lesson. So the first question we need to know is what is a report? A report can be said to be a spoken or written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated. A spoken or written account of something that someone has observed, heard, done, or investigated. A report can also be said to be any piece of writing that conveys factual information of something that has happened. So the key word here is that a report is something that has already happened. You are reporting on something that has happened already, not something that is about to happen. So please take notes about this. Who writes a report? A report can be written by anyone so far as he or she is an eyewitness. A report can also be written by someone who has done an investigation into a matter, or someone who has heard about something that occurred in the past, or someone who has taken part in an occurrence. So what this simply means is that if someone decides to investigate into an incident, the person can choose to write a report on it. Or probably someone has heard something being said about another person, and the person can decide to report on it. Or someone was really part of that incident, the person can also decide to write a report on it. Then who are the recipients of a report, or who are reports written for? Reports are mainly written to people in authoritative positions. They could be your employers, they could be teachers, head teachers, or the security agencies. For the purpose of this lesson, which is basically for the school setting, we say reports can be written for our teachers, our head teachers, or in extreme cases, it could be written to the proprietors, the directors of a school, or even to the security agencies. In exam situations, note that you can be required to write a report to any of these personalities I have spoken about. So the next question is looking at what are the types of a report. What are the types of a report? Basically, we have two types of reports. We have the formal reports and the informal reports. A formal report can be said to be any report written for an authoritative person or purposes. That is, a formal report involves presenting of factual and impersonal details of events that has occurred. Take note of the keywords here, factual and impersonal. Factual in the sense that your report you are giving should be based on facts. It shouldn't be based on fabrications or what you think it is. And impersonal in the sense that you don't put yourself in the report. You don't attach personal feelings to your report. So they should be factual and impersonal. Then it is qualified to be a formal report. The next type is the informal report, which we can term to be an interpersonal report, in the sense that it does not follow any rigorous outlines or methods as compared to the formal reports. So these are reports that could be written to peers or colleagues at work just for the fun of it, or to inform them of certain things. So here you are allowed to attach your personal feelings to it. And the next step is the features of a formal report. Features of a formal report. Every formal report has to have these features. So you need a title or a heading, you need an introduction, The main body comes your conclusion, your subscription, and your designation. Now let's delve deeper into these features of a formal report. So your title or heading can be written in capital letters or block letters and neatly underlined, or you can decide to initially capitalize the initial letters of each word you are using, then the rest can be written in smaller letters. Please remember to underline your title. The title of your report should also contain some key elements as well. One, the title should contain the event or the subject matter you are trying to write on or speak on. So what is your report about? This should be part of your title. Your title should also contain the date the event occurred or the date the incident occurred. This should be added to your title. Then finally, the venue or place the event occurred should also be included in the title of your report. We will go deeper into this in subsequent lessons. From the title, we move to the introduction. Here, what you do is to state what your report is going to be about. That is the subject matter of your report. Then you bring the day or dates of the incident you are reporting on. Then where did the incident take place? That is the venue or place the incident took place should also be added to the introduction of your report. From the introduction, we move to the main body. The main body, what you simply do is to make sure that your ideas are written in a chronological order. There should be a sequence to your idea or events that occurred and you are reporting on. Make sure that you don't jumble things up and down. That is why I'm emphasizing that sequence of events should be written in a chronological order, which means first things first, second things first, second. Don't bring the second thing to the first, the third thing to the second, and everything is jumbled up. It should be clearly written and hence should be in an orderly form. Also, make sure that you don't add your personal feelings to your reports. I mentioned this earlier on because personal feelings might render your report infactual, and that wouldn't be formal, that wouldn't be accepted anywhere. Okay, now the body of your report can also be written in simple paragraphs, which means that each idea or each event you want to discuss takes the form of a paragraph. But in some cases, you can be allowed to use subheading to write the body of your report. We'll get into this in details. We'll look at instances where the subheading methodology, let me put it that way, is best suited to write your report, and instances where simply using your paragraphs is suited for your report. Then the language used in your report, of course, should be formal because this is a formal report we are writing. Formal here, I mean that your language should be straightforward, it should be polite. Don't use jargons, don't use jokes, don't use the contracted forms of words. Okay, so your words should be spelled in full. Instead of saying won't, say will not. Instead of saying shouldn't, say should not. And you'll be good to go. From the main body, we move to our conclusion. So with the conclusion, what you simply do is to summarize your points neatly. Okay, just re-emphasize on what you've written. Very short, it shouldn't be lengthy. Okay, in some cases you might be required to give recommendations after as part of your conclusion, but in most cases it's not allowed to give recommendations. Also, we'll look at questions or instances where you are allowed room to make recommendations when you are concluding your report, and also instances where you are not supposed to make recommendations as well, because making recommendations might give you room to add your personal feelings to the report. And remember, we said that the report should be impersonal. The report should be impersonal. So from after you conclude, the next step is your subscription, which is very important For any report to be accepted, the report must be authenticated. And the only way you can authenticate a report can be deemed as authenticated is when it has is traced to a particular person. So your report should have a subscription. By subscription, what we simply mean is that your name, what we simply mean is that your signature should be written, and your signature is put at the right-hand corner of immediately after your conclusion, the right-hand corner of your paper or script. Your signature comes first, followed by your full name. Then your designation, which is the position you are occupying in that present instance or circumstance. If you were an eyewitness, then your designation becomes what? Eyewitness. If, let's say, you are the secretary, then your designation becomes the secretary. If you are, let's say, the class prefect, then your designation becomes the class prefect. Mostly in exam situations, some questions will assign a designation to you, and then you need to use it. But in some cases, a designation is not assigned to you. You have to assign that to yourself. But you don't just pick any designation to use. You should pick something related. So in this case, the questions should be read thoroughly for you to get your designation out there. So all too soon, we come to the end of the lesson. This is just an introduction to writing formal reports, Thank you. Good. So that is all for today, and I hope you really had fun with this lesson. In our next lesson, we will delve deeper into each of the features of a formal report stated here. Then we will look at some practical sample questions and how to best write your formal report. Please subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already, so that you don't miss the next episode and more exciting lessons in the future. Thank you for watching.